بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا سبحانه وتعالى ويرضاه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما أما بعد. Tonight's session is going to be on sujud as-Sahu. When you make a mistake in your salah out of forgetfulness, something that you add, something that you take out, an issue of which you're doubtful, how do you fix that error when you forget? You made something extra, you did something less, or you're unsure, more or less. Ziyada am nuqsan, you're unsure, which of the two? We started this, I believe, maybe 3 parts or 3 lessons in Masjid Taqwa in Brooklyn, and we spoke on, first and foremost, the definition of sujud as-Sahu. This definition, what does it mean? Then after the ta'rif, sujud as-Sahu, says, hukmu sujud as-Sahu. The ruling of it. Is it mandatory to do it? Remember Adam? Or is it something that's just preferable? Number 3 was the wisdom behind sujud as-Sahu. And now we have sifatu sujud as-Sahwi hal yukabbiru li sajdatay as-Sahu. What is the description of sujud as-Sahu? Do you make the takbir or not? We said that the strongest view, the correct view from the people of knowledge, is that sujud as-Sahu is what? Mandatory, fard. The hadith of the sunnah, the Prophet ﷺ clearly did it when he forgot and made an error. The hadith in which the Prophet ﷺ commanded those who forgot in their salah to do this. Everybody understand this? And it isn't narrated that he left it off. It's not necessarily narrated that he what? That he left it off. And he said, pray like you see me praying. He did it himself. He told the people to do it. And we don't have a specific authentic narration stating that he what? Didn't do it. So it goes back, starts and ends, sticks with the asl. The asl of his command. The asl of his general, or the general command of making salah like him. Everybody understand these things? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Everybody clear on this or not? Right. So now the author, Dr. Abdullah Tayyar, he says, as-Sahihu min kalami ahli al-ilm أنه يجب التكبير قبل كل سجدة من سجدة السهو سواء قبل السلام كانتا أم بعده. دليل ذلك ما رواه البخاري ومسلم وغيرهما عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه حيث جاء في الحديث فصلى ركعتين ثم سلم ثم كبر فسجد مثل سجوده أو أطول ثم رفع رأسه فكبر ثم وضع رأسه فكبر فسجد مثل سجوده أو أطول ثم رفع رأسه وكبر. He says here, that which is correct. In other words, when he says as-Sahih, it means that there's what? Khilaf. Whenever you're reading a book, any book on Mustalah, Hadith, on Aqidah, Fiqh, Tafsir, any book in which you read and it says as-Sahihu min kalam al-ulama, as-Sahihu inda al-muhaqqiqeen, as-Sahih fi madhab al-Imam al-Shafi'i, as-Sahih, whenever you hear the word as-Sahih starting off the sentence, then it means that there's what? Something that the author considers to be غير sahih. Not correct, incorrect. And this is a golden principle, actually, how to read a book. When it says the correct view states, then that means that there's a view which is not correct. Incorrect. Everybody got this? A view that's what? Incorrect. Everybody understand this? And this is a golden principle. Any book that you're reading, Islamic or non-Islamic, but we're talking about Islamic books. It says as-Sahih. The correct view is you have to do such and such and such and such. Meaning that there is at least, what? One other view. At least. There could be 2 others, there could be 3 others. But al-aqal, at least there's another. هناك قول آخر مرجوح. هناك قول آخر مرجوح. There's another view that the author considers to be what? Marjuh. It is rajih, and this is what? Marjuh. If it was a scale, it's a heavier side. Everybody understand this or not? He says here, that which is correct from the people of knowledge, the correct view from the ulama, he says, is that when a person makes sujud as-Sahu, he must make takbir. Every time he makes sajda, he has to do what? Takbir. Now let's ask the question, before we get into the proofs and the evidences, why would somebody say that you don't have to make takbir? Something else. What will make somebody say that you don't have to or you shouldn't? Something else. Closer or something else. In this book here, we have, and we as Muslims, we all know, we do that which is called what? As-Salah, prayer. So make salat. You pray. And we pray, we just don't call upon Allah, God. But we actually do what? Physical movements. We do physical movements as Muslims. We make what? Physical movements. And our religion is so beautiful and so complete and so perfect is that everything is detailed. It's knowledge-based. Islam is not about what I think or what you think, what you feel, what your forefather, Islam is based off of divine source. And that divine source is clearly science-like, scientific, and knowledge. And our religion is so complete is that it goes hand in hand with our nature as human beings. We said this in Brooklyn, that the nature of the human being is to forget. The nature of the human being is to make a what? A mistake, an error. It's your nature. Let alone in 2017 where there's phones and media and stress and parking tickets and bills and problems. So when you make the salah, you say Allahu Akbar. You stand in the prayer. You yourself, your own subconscious, let alone shaitan, the devil, let alone just distractions, will make you make a mistake in the prayer. Make an error. I did something wrong. I said something too fast, too slow. I forgot something. So prayer in Islam is obligatory. You have to pray. And it's one of the most important acts of worship is to physically pray 5 times a day. So if you have to pray, and if you don't pray, you're going to be held responsible for it in the afterlife when you pass away and you're resurrected. Allah, God Almighty will ask you, did you pray? Did you make salah on time? Did you do it correctly? Everybody understand this? So prayer is mandatory, but the human being is created to forget. Then there is a glitch. I have to do something in the most perfect manner, the closest manner possible, but my nature as a human being is what? Imperfection. So from the mercy of Allah and the beauty of Islam is that we're allowed to make the salah. We're commanded to make the salah in a perfect manner as closely as possible or as close as possible. And when we do make a mistake, when we do make an error, there's a way of what? Fixing it and patching it up. And we're not held accountable. We're not what? Held accountable. Rather, we get a reward for forgetting and doing the right thing. And this is from the beauty of Islam. You get a reward if you make a sin and you repent. You get a reward for doing the right thing after you didn't do the right thing. And that's not the case in any other religion. There has to be redemption. You have to kill yourself. You have to be punished. No, it's not Islam. Everybody clear on this or not? In the hudud, the Islamic criminal law or the penal code, okay, if someone murders someone, they're executed, capital punishment. Someone steals a certain amount of money, a certain wealth, their hand is cut off. Their punishment is not because that's their punishment. No. The punishment, they could make repentance to Allah and they could be forgiven of that. But that punishment is for the safety of the people. Everybody understand this? وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ. Allah says, oh people of understanding, you have hayat. You have what? Life. So if somebody realizes, if I steal somebody's money, if I try to rape someone or oppress someone, something's going to happen to me. That's for the peace of everybody, the benefit of everybody. And it's not necessarily something that you can't be forgiven unless you're punished in other religions. Everybody understand this? So therefore, when we make sujud as-Sahu, there's a specific way. And some of the ulama say that you should not make takbir when you go back to the what? Sujud. How many positions are there, we said, in Brooklyn? Adam. How many positions? No, there was no confusion. It was clear. 4. Number 1 is what? Let's go. No. We talking about in the salah. You're sitting already. You finish your tashahhud. Now you have. All right. All right. Sujood. You can make sujood. Then what?
Then it's the sitting.
Jalsa. You come back up, sit down. Then what?
The sujood again.
Sujood again. Then what?
Then the sitting again.
Then sitting again.
And then the taslim.
Taslim after you sit? Show us. Yalla.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So you do the first.
No. Show it like you're actually praying. You're starting off, you make it to tashahhud.
Right.
You got your finger up, right? Then you make the sujood.
First one is the sujood.
Aywa, sujood. That's one position. Haraka. Then
Second one is the sitting.
jalsa. That's two. Then
3,
okay.
4,
Clear.
and then the salam.
Salam is a position or not? Yes or no?
In measure taqwa you said it was.
I'm asking you now tonight in Measure 109.
From what I've learned from you, yeah.
There you go. Oh, طيب. Empty cup. Be quick on your feet, huh? طيب. So how many positions so far you did?
5.
5. So if you make takbir, that's an additional what?
Position.
Not necessarily a different position, la. But it's additional. It's something. It's an extra statement. And the concept of you making this two sujood is based off of what? Something that you weren't supposed to do. Something that you what? Weren't supposed to do. So as if they say it only makes sense to limit the additions and just keep the lean minimum, bare minimum of actions. And takbir is something that's what? It's extra. It's what? It's extra. Everybody understand this? Some of them say that it's what? Is that it's extra. Everybody got this? Do the positions one more time.
Can I just ask a question?
Fadal.
When you say takbir, does that actually mean a hand motion or just the same?
Takbir is a statement. Yeah. Raising the hand is different. Now, all right, so you make it to shahud. Make it to shahud. Assalamu alayna wa alayhi. You make it to shahud. The position called the what? Tashahhud. Okay. After the tashahhud, now, let's say in this instance, you're going to make the sujood as-Sahu when? Before the salam.
Okay.
So, fadal. Number 1 is what? Sujood. That's the sajda. That's number 1. And you say things in there, which we'll get to later. And then you do what? Jilsa. You didn't say Allahu Akbar. Then you do what again? Sujood. Then you can't make taslim from sujood. So he has to come back up into jilsa once again. And then he does what? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So,
does each salam count as one individual action? Because you said 5.
we're going to get there. That could be another one. That could be 6. Yes. But right now, should he make takbir in those positions or not? Those ulama who say that he shouldn't, what's their logic? Is adding even more. And the whole nature of him doing this is getting out of something that he did wrong. So why put more things on his plate? Why put what? More. Why put what? It doesn't make any sense. That's their logic. The author says that which is correct is that when you go into each sajda, do what? Make takbir. Make what? Takbir. Everybody got this or not? See how we bring, just like the marriage conference. A big thing, next get the rings getting what? Smaller. More detail of sujood as-Sahu. How to perfectly make what? Sujood as-Sahu. You got it now, Adam? No. So the author, he says here, that which is correct, he says, is that you must make takbir before every sajda, regardless whether the sajda is before the salam or after the salam. He then says, dalilu dhalika, he says the proof for this, the dalil, and this is very important also when you're reading a book. Very important when you're reading a book, any book. Whenever someone says that which is correct, the strongest opinion, the correct opinion, that which is right, you now have to do what now? You have to enforce that. You have to do what? Enforce that opinion. And you enforce that opinion with what? Proof. Proof. The research is the means of getting to the proof. You got to prove it now. This person is guilty. So now you have to what? Prove it. You have to back it up now. I say stay away from, this place. Don't let me catch you, on this corner. Now what do you have to do now? You got to do what? No, your proof is something else. You got to enforce it. You got to set an example. Allahu Akbar. Deep. You got to do what? You got to enforce it now. If you say this is my area, no one else is allowed. That's just kalam. Now you have to do what now? You got to enforce it. No threats. Never make threats. No false threats. No threats. Everybody understand this? You got to do what? You got to what? Enforce it. Because that which is correct is that this is my territory. So now I have to do what now? I have to enforce that. Everybody understand this? So when you say that something is right or wrong, you have to do what now? You got to enforce it. And you enforce it not physically, but with the what? Proofs, not the research. The research is the bridge that leads you to the proofs. You got to research the books to get to the... Everybody got this? Very important principle of reading Islamic books. If the author says as-Sahih, that which is correct, kada. Whether he mentions it or not, your job is to look for that which makes this view the strongest view. Everybody got this or not? The author, rahimahullah, he says, the proof for this is that which is collected by Al-Bukhari and Muslim and others. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu he made rak'atain, 2 rak'ah, thumma sallama, and then he made the taslim. In other words, that was a what? A mistake. The prayer that he was making was supposed to have how many? 4 rak'at. Each completion of units, saying Allahu Akbar, bowing down, coming up, that's called rak'ah. And then when you make dhuhr or asr, is what? 4 rak'at, 4 units. Maghrib is how many? 3. Fajr is 2. Hakada. So in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he was supposed to be making how many? 4. But he did what?
2.
He forgot. He was a human being. He forgot. And he only made what? 2 rak'ah. Everybody clear on this? The narration says, ثُمَّ كَبَّرَ. Then he did what? Made takbir. He then says here, so he made 2 rak'ah, and then afterwards he did what? He made 2 more. He completed the amount, 4. Then after he finished, that which is mandatory, and this is very important because when we get into sujud as-Sahu, the first step is to fix the mistake. Before you get into when to make the sujud, you have to do what? Fix the mistake. If something that you left off, you have to do what? You got to do that. If something that you did extra, that's a different story. But something that's naqs, omission, you omitted something from prayer, you have to do what first? You got to add it. Just like in real life. I took something from you. Before I can apologize to you, I have to do what? Then I apologize. But before the apology has to be, you have to give me what you what? What you owe me. Everybody understand this concept? So in a salat, you make a mistake. You only made 2 rak'ah. You're supposed to make how many? 4. Before you get into when to make this sajda, you have to do what?
Make the 2.
Wow. Everybody got this? You have to do what? Or 1. Or the Fatiha. Whatever it is. Everybody got this? So therefore the Messenger of Allah sallallahu he made what? How many? He says, فَصَلَّى رَكْعَتَيْنِ ثُمَّ سَلَّمَ. Then he made the what? Taslim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. He made the taslim. It then says, ثُمَّ كَبَّرَ. Then he made what? Takbir. فَسَجَدَ مِثْلَ سُجُودِهِ أَوْ أَطْوَلْ. He made the sujood in a normal time or even longer. Or even what? Or even longer. It then says, ثُمَّ رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ فَكَبَّرَ. Then he raised his head and he said, Allahu Akbar again. ثُمَّ وَضَعَ رَأْسَهُ فَكَبَّرَ. Then he placed his head and he made what? Takbir. He went back down into sujood after jilsam. فَسَجَدَ مِثْلَ سُجُودِهِ أو سُجُودِهِ أو أطول. And he did the same. Similar amount, if not longer. ثُمَّ رَفَعَ رَأْسَهُ وَكَبَّرَ. Then he raised his head and he did what? Made takbir. So this hadith here, and it's in Sahih Bukhari here and in Sahih Muslim, it clearly proves that when the Messenger of Allah made sujud as-Sahu, he did what? Takbir, clearly. And he didn't just go from position to position without the what? Without the takbir. He did not go from position to position without the what? Takbir. Everybody understand this? Everybody understand this? So if you're studying fiqh, if you're studying the madhab says don't make takbir when you go from position to position. Why not? Because the takbirat are, because they're what? No. Because they're what? Mukhtar. There you go. This madhab, I'm hypothetical, they're using what now? Logic, which isn't necessarily what? Wrong. It's not necessarily bad. Starting off, logically, it only makes sense to stay away from doing what? More things. However, the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that's in Bukhari and Muslim clearly states that the messenger what? He did it. So that logic is no longer what? Can't use your mind anymore in light of the text. Everybody understand this? Everybody got this or not? Let alone the fact that the asl is that whenever you move in the salah, you do what? Make takbir. You make what? Takbir. When you stand up, when you go from one position to the next, what do you say? That's the asl. So this view that says that you don't make takbir has 2 points against it. And it's a very important point when it comes to Shaykhan about madhabs. They say, well, you have to study a madhab. You're not a scholar. It's confusing. It's difficult. Abu Hanifa, he lived years ago. Just take the easy, simple system that's already laid out. And you learn in this madhab, the person says, don't make takbir when you make sujud as-Sahu. He says what? Follow his madhab, that's best. But you read a hadith that clearly states that the Messenger of Allah, what? He did it. And their view is based off of logic and is based off of the clear sunnah. You as a layman Muslim, what's your responsibility? That's clear. It's not something that's difficult. It's something that's what? Clear. And there are many issues like this in madhabs, and which your views are based off of what? Logic, which doesn't necessarily sound bad. But there are hadith that what? Aywa, such as raising the hands. Don't raise the hands except for the first takbir, mukhtar. When you make ruku', don't what? Raise the hands. You come out of ruku', don't raise the hands. Why not? Because this is distraction, they say. Or as if you're going to fly away, you're flapping in the salat. And if you think about it, it makes sense. What is more still? To move like this, come up like this, or to just bow down and come out? What's more still? Without a doubt. That's more stillness. However, that logic is against the what? Clear, authentic ahadith, in which the Messenger of Allah sallallahu what? Rafa'a yadayhi. He raised his hands. And you can make 50 other examples of this when the madhab is based off of one view and the madhab is based on what? Logic. And there are other hadith which clearly say the Messenger did this, he ate this, he slept like this, he dressed like this. And the logic is saying, no, don't do it. No, don't do it. Everybody understand this? So this is the concept of a layman understanding certain things that are not necessarily correct from a what? From a madhab. Everybody understand this? Right, moving forward. He then says, وما رواه البخاري عن عبد الله بن بحينة رضي الله عنه أنه قال صلى لنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ركعتين من بعض الصلوات ثم قام فلم يجلس فقام الناس معه فلما قضى صلاته ونظرنا تسليمه كبر التسليم فسجد سجدتين وجالس ثم سلم. He says another proof, another evidence, there's another very important point, is that when you want to prove a point, don't just give one proof. Don't just what? Give one proof. But support the evidence sometime with what? 2 or 3. To solidify, to fortify it. Everybody understand this? To enforce what you're trying to do. He says, is that which is in the Sahih al-Bukhari, narrated by Abdullah ibn Buhayna, radiyallahu anhu, is also in Sahih Muslim. He says here, is that one day the Messenger of Allah ﷺ made salah, and he only made rak'atayn. ثُمَّ قَامَ, he then stood up. فَلَمْ يَجْلِسْ, and he did not sit down. In other words, he forgot the what? Tashahhud. He forgot the what? Tashahhud. فَقَامَ النَّاسُ مَعَهُ, and the people, they stood up with him. فَلَمَّا قَضَى صَلَاتَهُ, when he finished his prayer, in other words, when he finished the 4 rak'at, he says, وَنَظَرْنَا تَسْلِيمَهُ, and we were expecting him to do what? Make taslim. We were waiting for him to do what? Make taslim. Kabbara. Instead, he did what? He made takbir. قَبْلَ التَّسْلِيم, before the taslim. فَسَجْدَ سَجْدَتَيْن, and he made how many? 2, and he was sitting down. So that second hadith also proves that the Prophet he did what when he went to sujood? He made what? Takbir. So a madhab that says don't make takbir when you go to the sujood as-Sahu is not what? It's batil. It's false. He said make an example of them. These guys, these harsh words coming from you guys. Right, Devin, not me. He says false, batil. Moving forward. He says, وَيَفْعَلَ الْمُصَلِّي فِي سُجُودِ السَّهُ مَا يَفْعَلُ فِي سُجُودِ الصَّلَاةِ فَيَسْجُدُ عَلَى الْأَعْضَاءِ السَّبْعَةِ وَيَجَافِي عَضُدَيْهِ عَنْ جَنْبَيْهِ وَبَطْنَهُ عَنْ فَخِذَيْهِ وَيُفَرِّقُ رُكْبَتَيْهِ وَيَقُولُ حَالَ سُجُودِهِ سُبْحَانَ رَبِّيَ الْأَعْلَى. He says, furthermore, about the description, how to make the sujood as-Sahu. He says, when you do it, you do anything else that you would normally do in sujood. Anything else you do what? Normally doing your sujood. Such as making sujood on 7 parts of your body. What are those 7 parts? Stand up, Adam, quickly. 7 parts. Quick.
Your 2 feet, your 2 knees, your 2 hands, and your face.
Count. Number 1.
2.
2.
4.
4. 6.
7.
7. So make sujood now. Lift one of your knees off the ground. If you make sujood like that, the sujood is what? Incorrect. Lift one of your feet off the ground. Put on what? Incorrect. Lift one of your hands off the ground. Or just lift your head up a little bit. Like some people make prostration overseas and some places. That's wrong Islamically. Everybody got that? Right. He then says, I'm not done with you yet. He says, وَيُجَافِي عَضُدَيْهِ, and he also spreads his what? Show us. Spread the arms, not the hands. Adud. Everybody understand this? Just a bit. Right. He then says, وَبَطْنَهُ عَنْ فَخِذَيْهِ, and his stomach, his belly from his thighs. So if you're making sujood, it's, and then ball up yourself now. No, not like that. Everybody understand this? There's got to be space. Somebody could crawl under him if he had to. Everybody got this? He then says, وَيُفَرِّقُ رُكْبَتَيْهِ, and also to split his knees. The knees are to be what? Split. Huh, Sharif? The knees are not supposed to be what? They're not supposed to be together like that. But it's supposed to be what? Split. Everybody got that? And then he says, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Just like he would normally what? Make the sujood. He says, وَالسُنَّةُ أَن يُكَرِّرَ هَذَا التَّسْبِيحَ ثَلَاثَ مَرَّاتٍ وَيَزِيدَ مَعَهُ مَا جَاءَتْ بِهِ السُنَّةُ أَيْضًا مثل سبوح قدوس رب الملائكة والروح سبحان ربك أو سبحانك اللهم ربنا وبحمدك اللهم اغفر لي. He says here, in the sunnah, it's not mandatory, but that which is recommended and good and preferable, as for you to say Subhana Rabbil A'la how many times? At least 3 times. When you make sujood, you say what, Devin? Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. Meaning, how perfect is my Lord, the Most High. How perfect is Allah, the Most High. You say this at least what? 3 times. And to mention the extra additions that are found in other ahadith, such as Subuhun, Quddusun, Rabbul Malaika, wa Ruh, which is a means of praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and declaring His greatness, the Lord of the angels and of Jibreel. And also to say Subhanaka Allahumma Rabbana, Subhanaka Allahumma Rabbana, wa bihamdika Allahumma ghfirli. وأن يجلس بين السجدتين مفترشا يسرا ناصبا يمناه ويضع يديه على فخذيه وأطراف أصابعه عند ركبتيه أو يضع اليد اليمنى على الركبة واليد اليسرى ويلقمه ركبة وصفتان عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كلتاهما صحيح. Right, now sitting, how do you sit? The author says, turn around and show everybody with your feet. He says what? مفترشا يسرا, like that. I understand this. That's not necessarily mandatory, especially if your feet, if you have a problem. Sometimes when I need this a lot, I don't always sit like that sometimes. Whereas I have an injury in my foot. But if you can, if it's not a problem, that's how you should what? Sit like that. Show us the way that you shouldn't sit. Yeah. No, with regards to the feet. Like that. That's not haram. It's not something that makes your prayer invalid, but that's not the what? Aywa. Or what else?
I've actually seen the left too.
The left instead of the right. Or what else? Putting your behind on the floor.
Those are the skinny brothers, man. Big
Tahir.
brothers ain't doing that.
Tahir. Everybody understand this? Or even more, sitting on your actual heels.
What?
Putting your behind on your, yeah, you will. Everybody understand this? Tahir. Khairan, inshallah. Moving forward, Jamil. Stay with me. He then says here, and now you go to Jilsa now. Yalla. Come on, Akhi, you're moving slow. Show the people. Turn around to the people. No. Jilsa, the hands. Turn around, show the brothers, not me. I don't want to see your back. Turn around at them. All the way. No, show them. Aye, you are. Yalla, Akhi, face them.
Oh, me.
Not the back, face. All right, now Adam. Put your hands on your legs now. Sit how you normally sit. There you are. Now, where are your hands? Where do they belong? On 2 places. He says what? On your thighs or on top of your?
Knees.
Not at the ground, but just, everybody got this? 2 ways of doing it. Moving forward. Everybody okay? It's all a part of the class. It's all right. Get him some water, huh? He can't control his laughter. Moving forward. He says, وَيَقُولُ اللَّهُمَّ اغْفِرْ لِي وَارْحَمْنِي وَعَافِنِي وَاهْدِنِي وَارْزُقْنِي. And the author says that it's preferred to say the following dua as well. Allahumma ighfir li. Allahumma ighfir li. Allahumma ighfir li. Oh Allah, forgive me. Warhamni. Have mercy on me. Put your pen down, Jeremy. What you gonna do when you go overseas with that terrible pen? Let me see. What is this, Akhi?
What's so bad about it?
Allah musta'an. I didn't teach you better than that, Jamil? Huh? You didn't have no class? Hadith disciples write with this type of pen, Sharif? Allah musta'an, huh? Some type of gentleman, huh? Something that you can keep, you give to your children, you pass down. What you gonna do with this? Who you gonna give this? Z grip. You see a comparison between these two pens, Akhi? Any comparison between the two? Which one would you pick? What one would you pass down to your son? Without a doubt, right? I thought we went through this, Jeremy, at the pizza store, remember? May Allah guide you. Ameen. Ameen. Sorry, moving forward. He say, Allahumma ghfirli. Oh Allah, what? Forgive me. Warhamni. Have mercy on me. Wa'afini. Give me well-being. Wahdini. Guide me. Warzuqni. And provide for me. Look at the power of that one supplication. Imagine you make that dua every day in your prayer. At least, 5 times a day. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what? Forgiveness. Mercy. Well-being. Guidance. And what? Provision. Rizq. It's amazing. And that's just one what? One part of the salat. Moving forward. وَيَطْمَئِنُّ فِي هَذَا الْجُلُوسِ. And he says, and a person should be what? Still and tranquil while sitting down. So make the sujood. Allahu Akbar. Now come in the jilsa. Go back in the jilsa. Now go right back. That's too still. That's too slow. I want you to do it like somebody was doing it with no type of. Aywa. No. Once you come out of sujood, you sit what? Then sit, relax. For a second. His body is still. A breath. A couple of seconds, then do what now? Allahu Akbar. Back to the takbir, Adam. Back to the what? You're making a model. What we learned. Everybody understand this? Everybody got this or not? Tayyib is to make tuma'nina. When you pray, is not to pray as some people do. Allahu Akbar. Take your time. Allahu Akbar. Take your time. Sami Allahu liman hamid. Do what? Take your time. Relax. Let your body become what? Still. Everybody got this? Moving forward. ثم يسجد السجدة الثانية ويفعل ما فعله في السجدة الأولى. And make what? Adam the second sajda just like you did the what? The first. Everybody got that? Right, moving forward. The next topic of discussion, he says here, هل يتشهد بعد سجدة السهو. After you make the two sajdas, what are you going to do next, Adam? Make the taslim. Leave the prayer, right? Right. Or should you make another? Tashahhud. Make another what? Tashahhud. What comes after the sajda, the last sajda in the salah? Tashahhud. And any prayer that you make, after you made the final sajda, the last sujood, you do what, Ali? Tashahhud. At-tahiyyat. Keep going. والصلوات الطيبات وبركاته وحده لا شريك له. Yeah, you gotta get into the tashahhud as well. You have to unlearn what we what? About the tashahhud. Empty the cup, Ali. Right? Right, moving forward. He says, all right, the question is now, Sheikh Khan, stay with me. Adam, stay with me. After you make the second sajda in the prayer, what do you normally do? There you go. Make what? Tashahhud, then is the taslim. So since the fact that you made a mistake in your salah, right? You realize what the mistake was. Everybody understand this? You fixed the salah. You did the two what? Sajda. You did it. You patched it up. Before you make the taslim, should you make another? No. Tashahhud. No. Sharif or Sufyan. Make another what? Tashahhud. Why? Logic would tell you to do what? No, let's say you didn't miss it. Let's say that you didn't miss it. There you go. That's the normal formula. After you make the last sajda, do you what? You always do what? Tashahhud. Everybody understand this? So logic would tell you from one aspect to do another tashahhud, because that's the normal what? Aywa. Another piece of logic or part of logic, another way of looking at it will tell you what? Not to make it, because that is no. Yeah, wow. Everybody understand this? Everybody got to understand, we understand it or not? And that's another very important point of reading books, Mujahid. Before you get into what's correct and what's incorrect, what's right and what's wrong, many times we don't even know what's going on. We don't understand the mas'ala, the issue at hand. Before you get into what's right, what's wrong, why, you have to understand what is actually being what? Talking about. What is the tasawwur? Do you have a surah? Do you have an image of the discussion in your what? Mind, clearly. Everybody got this? So it says here that you've made the mistake in your salah, right, Sheikh? Let's say you made 2 rak'ah in dhuhr, and then you salammed out. And you remember that you made what? Just 2 instead of 4. So you make what? The takbir. You make how many rak'ah? 2. You've made the normal tashahhud. And let's say that you're making the tashahhud, or let's say you're making the sajda, 2 sujuds, after the what? After the taslim. No, you made 4. You made 4. Once again, you made salat al-dhuhr, right? You're the imam. I'm sleeping, I'm tired. I didn't come to the masjid, unfortunately. You led the salat. What salat is it? Salat what? Dhuhr. How many rak'ah? 4. So, you made 2 rak'ah. You made the tashahhud, and then you made what? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. The brothers behind you say, yeah, Sheikh, you only made what? So what do you have to do now? Stand up, make takbir. Allahu Akbar. Now do what? Make 2 rak'ah. The last rak'ah, the last sajda, you make the tashahhud, you salam out like nothing happened. As soon as you salam out, then you do what? You start making the sajda sahu. Takbir, sujud, jilsa, like we just explained. Now you've come back up. You're in the second jilsa. Before you salam out and finish everything, do you have to, or should you make an additional tashahhud or not? You got it now? Should you make another tashahhud or what? Or not? Before you, in a fiqh issue, before you get into is it right or is it wrong, you have to make that what you call tasawwur. Tasawwur, surah. You have to make sure that you have actually conceptualized what's going on. And there are many students, let alone laymen, everyday Muslims, they talk about things, do things, say things, and they don't actually what is actually being said. Everybody got this or not? So do you make another tashahhud or you just make the taslim and finish? Go about your business. Everybody understand the issue? Before we get into is it right or wrong, you have to do what? Understand it. And more importantly than understanding is what? Is to conceptualize. Understanding is one thing. Conceptualizing something is that you actually what? No. We said understanding already. There you go. It's you what? See it clearly. I got it in my head, the vision of what you're talking about. I see what you're saying now. Everybody understand this? That's like what? I see what you're saying. Not understand you, but what? I see what you're saying. What? I see it. Tasawwur. Coming from the word what? Surah. Image, picture, photo in your head. Alright, I got this? So, Fadl Adam.
So you're making a second set of taslim?
We're asking, no. You got to make 2 taslims, period. If you only made 2 rak'ah. Once again.
So you made the first one
By mistake. That was a khata.
Right.
That was what? That was khata.
Narrow.
So what is wrong with your salat now? We're moving. No. Nope. Not before miss. What's wrong with the salat so far?
Early.
Nah, you added something.
You added the
Ahsant.
taslim.
That's ziyada. That's what? You added something. You're not supposed to do an extra taslim. Then when you made the 2 rak'ah and you finished the 4th rak'ah, you didn't what? Nothing was no longer what from your prayer? Nothing was missing. You fixed it. You patched it up. Nothing is no longer missing. You're making sujood as-Sahu for what? There you go. Ziyada. Not the 2. You finished the 2 already.
For adding the taslim.
Forgetfully. You got it or not? Pay attention to Adam. You're getting too happy and leave this guy Sharif alone. He's going to mislead you.
Now we conceptualize.
You see what I'm saying? It's a world of a difference now. Now, pay close attention. Once again, you made how many rak'ah, Shaykh Khan? Good. So if you walked off and left the masjid, your prayer will be what? Incomplete. Clearly. And for a long time went by, your dhuhr is gone. You got to make it again. But as soon as you made the taslim, you turn around, Allahumma anta salam, you start making tasbih. The brother said, Ya Shaykh, innama salayta rak'atayn. Malak. What's wrong with you, Shaykh? You only made what? And you remembered it. You're right. So you stood up and you did what? Takbir. You recited the Fatiha, hands on the chest, stomach. The normal way of making salat. You made your 3rd rak'ah. Sami Allahu liman hamida. Allahumma rabbana lakal hamd. There's normal what, Salih? Normal salah. And then you made the what? The fourth rak'ah, normal salah. You sat down, and now you're going to make the what? At-tahiyat, or keeping your fingers still, you made the tashahhud. Now it's time to do what? Taslim. It's time to do what? Taslim. Your prayer is complete or incomplete. You did everything that you're supposed to do. But you have to you have to fix the addition that you made forgetfully. And that has to be done through sajda as-Sahu. Hypothetically speaking, in this instance, we're going to make the sajda as-Sahu after the taslim. After the what?
Taslim.
After taslim. So his prayer is finished, it's done.
Right.
The only reason why he's making sajda as-Sahu is because he did what?
The
Addition,
addition.
ziyada, and not naqs. The naqs is done.
You made it up already.
Uh-huh.
But I'm saying, so you do another taslim after the sajda to sahu.
Of course.
Oh.
You left and you came back in.
'Cause I've
But
been
now the
saying
question
they
is,
don't do it.
do you make another
The
tashahhud? We didn't even get into the answer to that yet. We got the conceptualization or not?
No.
Got it, Ali? Fadl Shaykh.
Isn't the sajda sound for an incomplete salah as opposed to?
Not necessarily, no. The most important thing about the sajda, the sahu, is, before we get into that, is you got to fix it. Once again, I stole some money from you. I took some of your property. I stole your car. And then I show up at your door and say, what? I'm sorry. I'm what? I'm sorry. Is that complete or not? No. I have to do what first? Then? So in this instance, the sajda sahu is the what?
Sorry.
It's the apology. Not sorry, it's the apology. Returning the money is the what? Or one, or whatever you missed. Whatever what? How about clear on this? You got it or not, Jeremy? You with me or not, Akhi? You sure? We both home. Everybody got this? You got it or not? If you did something extra, then that's a different discussion. That's different what? And the taslim that you made by accident is the what? That's ziyada.
So, when, like, on Juma, when brothers are, like, done praying or whatever, and you still have a few that's still praying, that's what they doing? They patching?
That means they missed the rak'ah. They came late.
Right.
If the imam made 2. He recited out loud. This brother came late. He had to find a parking spot, and he only caught 1. So once the imam makes the taslim, he has to actually finish his prayer. Yes, or any other maghrib, I only caught 2. Fajr, I only caught 1. Or hakada. You got it? The sujud as-Sahu is going to be made by 1 or 2 people, by the imam or by those who pray by themselves. There's no sujud as-Sahu behind an imam. You're just going to follow him, but you don't make your own individual one. You got it? Tight. So, we clear on that so far?
Even if he leaves it off?
Tight. Moving forward. Moving along. Adam. Tight. He says here, as-Sahih, this goes to show you how fiqh is important. And how it has to be taught. It has to be taught what? Critically, correctly, hands-on. Not just, we said everyday fiqh, the name of the book, right? Everyday fiqh has to be actually what? Bonus fatwa, huh? No questions for you, Mukhtar. You're too young to ask a question. Moving forward. As-Sahihu, I'm just joking with him, obviously. He's one of my students. So I try to get him to do what? Work harder. And make it a little hard for him. Haze him just a bit. طيب. He says, as-Sahihu min kalam ahl al-ilm. Adam is a student as well, but he's a little big. So I'm not going to talk to him like that. طيب. He says here, as-Sahihu min kalam ahl al-ilm. أنه لا تشهد بعد سجدة السهو سواء قبل السلام كانت أم بعده. We're going to stop here tonight. Leave a little bit of time for the questions if there are any questions. But my advice is not to ask questions about sujud as-Sahu that are going to come what? Later on. Don't jump ahead. Bidnillah ta'ala. Wallahu a'lam. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you for your time and participation. Fadl Mukhtar. Fadl. What was the question? Right.
Sheikh, if by the time you get to the end of your salah, if you felt like you just really didn't have the khushu' that you should have had, or Can you do sahu just
No. Sajda sahu is only for what?
addition, subtraction, or doubt?
هذا هو, not khushu'.